I'd like to talk to Owen about all your horses, and I know Dave and Richard, you want to join in on this as well. Let's start with Anmat, who would be at the top of the list. He's had 2 runs this season, both very good, behind Los Angeles and obviously behind Ombudsman at Royal Ascot. Where is he now? Is he heading to Ireland? And is that dependent on ground or...?
Yeah, well, as Carl said, there's plenty of rain forecast for Leopardstown, so yeah, he's in great shape. So yeah, the plan is to head over there.
And how much better do you think he is on that type of ground? That obviously we saw him in the Champion Stakes last year, where he was brilliant. Is that part of the reason why he excels in these races in the autumn? Yeah,
I think he proved that day that he got locked up and couldn't go anywhere, but. That was soft old ground that day, and to be able to show that turn of foot on that ground, there's not many can do that. So, that's what I'm hoping now. Once we get him back on some soft ground, and his Prince of Wales run, take the winner out, and look, in hindsight, maybe Jim could have just sat on him a little fraction longer, because obviously William was locked up, and it wasn't until we went Jim had room to then go. So look, I'm not saying we're unlucky or anything like that, but yeah, we might just be sort of a bit better on soft ground.
Well, obviously the winner's not going. The trainer, or one of the trainers of the winner, mentions about going to Ireland and taking on Aiden, short straight, lots of runners. No such concerns for you?
Not really. Look, we'll drop in a bit and just take our time. Obviously, Leopardstown is a bit, it is a short straight, so it's a little bit different.
But that turn of foot is crucial at Leopardstown.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly. And look, I'm not quite sure how soft it's going to be, but I think it's, if the forecast's correct, there's plenty of rain coming this week. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting him back out, because he's in real good form.
Yeah. I'm not sure how if everyone else on this sofa is as boring as I am, but I look back at his first ever run, Anmat. Can you remember who beat him and who finished 4th?
Yeah, so Rebel's Romance beat him, and Baybridge was 4th, wasn't he? Yeah.
In a maiden at Kempton.
Kempton in
November.
Yeah.
Well, it turned out to be all right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, and the plan would be obviously, hopefully, all goes well, and then he goes back to the Champion Stakes.
Exactly, back to Ascot.
I presume he'll stay in training. Would he?
Look, we'll see. We'll see how he does now. His enthusiasm at home is Angus and Richard were with me Friday morning, and he just loves his work. His ears are pricked, his eyes bright, and he loves it.
All right. Another horse that I spoke to you after she won at Goodwood, the Lantry, Wardar. Mm-hmm. She's in the fillies and mares at Ascot.
Yeah, that's the plan. She's going to go there. Yeah, she appreciates soft ground. I did about putting her in the Park Hill this coming week, but look, she's a Group 2 winner already, and she'd have had a penalty, and I just thought, look, why risk a month before a Group 1 target? So touch wood, she's in real good form, and another one I'm looking forward to getting back out.
That's interesting, because you and Carl just mentioned something similar there, and it was mentioned yesterday. Do you feel when you tick off performances at levels, like Carl mentioned with the Group 3 yesterday, there's now no point in running in Group 3s at the moment because you've got a penalty. Maybe next year, if you haven't won one, don't carry a penalty. But do you sort of see that progression up the ladder?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's something. She's only had 3 runs this year now, but she's a listed winner. She's a Group 2 winner. It just makes sense then. If she can win, or even Group 1 placed is huge. So. Depending on how she runs, it'd be great if she stayed in training at 4. She's been sort of no trouble this year, so she's postponed out of a new approach mare. Surely another winter on her back, strengthen up a bit, and she could improve again.
We're talking about traits for Night of Thunder being quite slight. Do you find your postpones tend to be quite big, substantial horses?
Look, to be honest, I've not had too many. So I'm probably not in the right.
She would fit that mould, though.
Yes, Look, she won at Sandown as a 2-year-old, and she, that was soft ground, and we stuck her in deep end and listed race over a mile. at the back end of last year and didn't probably handle Newmarket the best. But yeah, she's always a filly we've seen a fair level at home. So yeah, it's great that she's getting it done.
I'll ask you about a couple of 3-year-olds, Gethan and Falaya. Obviously, Gethan is 2 from 2 and had a significant form boost with Sadat, obviously winning the London Gold Cup and then winning the other day. Roger Varian talking about the Champion Stakes, or at least he's got an entry in the Champion Stakes. And Gethan beat him convincingly at Newbury. What's the latest with him? What's the latest with Falaya?
So Gethan, all being well, will go to France on Friday for the Prix-Turin listed race there at Saint-Cloud.
He's still in the Arc.
He is, yeah. He's in the Arc and he's in the Champion Stakes. So, look, it's asking a lot, but he's pretty decent, I think. Obviously, as you touched on, the Newbury run had a fair form boost. We had a little setback after that, which was a pain. But he was ready to go at Windsor there a couple of Saturdays ago, but the ground was a bit quick. So we didn't want to risk him on that. But again, Callum actually come and sat on him yesterday morning. Yeah. Fair play to him. He was at Haydock on Friday, drove all the way down to me, stayed the night, and then drove all the way back up on Saturday after he'd ridden, and I think he had a non-runner and then one withdrawn in the stall. So he,
to be fair, if I heard you speaking about him like the way you've just done, I'd do the same. Well,
look, I think that's probably why he did it, but. He's a horse I do really like. I think he could be potentially very smart.
All right. And Falaya?
So Falaya, we weren't sort of 100% happy with her after Royal Ascot. I felt she just wasn't herself. She went back to Shadwell for a bit of a break. She's back with me now and cantering away. We're happy. Probably might look at the Pride in October there. Okay, we'll just have to see. She'll tell us as such.
You've got some exciting 2-year-olds as well. Stick to Your Guns won on debut at Sandown. Tulane is also 1 from 1. But of course, the one that everyone's going to be talking about, understandably, is the full brother to Baaeed and Hukum, and that's Raaheb, who won at Ascot this week. Did he win as you expected? Has he been showing you the signs that he's also something quite smart?
Yeah, look, he's he'd done everything right at home. But he's still half asleep. He doesn't know he's born yet. He'd managed to get on the grass on the Wednesday, so that's the first time he'd seen the grass. So, Jim's ridden a few bits of work. We took him into the village just for a little, box trip, and he worked well with a good lead horse. And
into the village.
Lambourne Village.
Right, just take him into the village for a trip.
Just to give him a change of scene. I do that quite often. It just takes them off the yard, pop them on the lorry, gives them a change of scenery, and again, because they've been up and down the artificials at home. As I touched on, he managed to get on the grass on Wednesday, and I find it does him the world of good that to have an away day, even though it's only a 5-minute box ride down into the village. But he looks more in the Hukum mould at the moment, which doesn't bother me. No. But I thought 7 furlongs, he's got a bit of knee action, so I felt the ground wouldn't hinder him. And he was in on the Saturday over a mile, but because it was pretty testing, one thing I learned is you run them a little bit under their trip first time, and we'll see how good a race it was in time, but I just love the way, he was drawn 1, that's not the nicest of stalls, but I thought he was very professional through the race, travelled good, and, nothing's going to quicken in that ground, but I thought he lengthened well and stretched good, hit the line well, and, he touched wood, he's come out of it good, so, we'll see how he lights up at home, hopefully the lights will come on a little bit, and we'll see what we do with him after.
I just wondered, I'm not trying to get you to throw sort of sticks and stones at other trainers, but when I first got into racing in like the mid to late 80s, 51 would have been a probably medium to largest stable, and you talk about a boutique service, but I just wondered, do you ever look at like stables with hundreds of horses and think, how on earth do you do that? Is it just seems a bit that 50 seems to me, as someone who's never been near training a racehorse, to be like just about manageable. But going into 3 figures, I just wonder how they do it.
Look, you know, you obviously rely on your team a damn sight more once you've got more horses. And obviously, I think, you know, as we touched on William Haggis, I think he's got a brilliant team behind him. You know, he's got plenty of horses, but as you touched on, he seems to know everyone. Every horse has got a plan. And look, I'd be lying if I sat here and said I wouldn't mind a few more. You know, I'd love to have, say, 70, 80, you know, but we are what we are. So, you know, we try and keep the quality up. And, but yeah, look, it's, you know, I was assistant to Sir Michael for years, and, you know, we had, well, look, 170, 180, 200 on the books one year. And yeah, you say you need good staff. You know, simple as you need good head men, head lasses. You know, good assistants. You know, it's a big team then. And the old saying, you're only as good as your team.
So Mark Prescott tells the story, I think, that he realised he would not be a great trainer when he realised that people could train more than 60. To that point, he believed 60 was the maximum. Yeah. And when you were able to effectively, you know, multiply that up and still train them, he said that was the day he knew that, you know, you'd have to pick and choose rather than be leading trainer.
The numbers are working for you at the moment.
Yeah, look, I can't complain. Yeah.
Definitely the case. We'll take a break. Lots more still to come on the show with a look at Ireland in a few moments.